All right, Primer, what's going on? We've got your admin team here. Um, this should be a quick video, nothing more than like 20 minutes maybe. Just going to go over kind of what we're looking for as far as guys. We've seen a lot of turnover here in Primer and kind of what we're looking for, things to expect next cycle. And then what everybody's waiting on these Madden 24 team draft details. But first, I've got the admin team here. We've got Double Rice, No Bean, A Train
Yeah,
J, and
What's
QT.
up?
What's going on, guys?
not much. Just got back from work, so I'm ready to bust this out.
All right, so
Met
Do it.
AJ.
so let's talk about what do you guys think are some things that we want everybody to know that we're kind of looking for as far as members and things that'll get you either able to stay here or even called up to the SML. What are the things that we're kind of looking for? Bean, what do you think?
So I guess what is different from the SML from most leagues is how much we value activity. You could be the best player in the league, but if you don't talk in chat and you don't, just do your due diligence in scheduling, you're not gonna have a long stay here, I guess. We can't be having 17 and 0 guys if they're not talking in chat for 2 weeks. So I think that's probably what separates SML from other leagues the most. But aside from that, I mean, sim gameplay is obviously a core fundamental of the league. You have to follow the rules. Everyone here is trying to play their games to have fun. So you just breaking rules is obviously not gonna fly.
Yeah, Q, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I would say kind of to touch on what he just said as well about the chat activity and just activity in general. If you're generally a guy who just you see your game on the schedule, you DM your opponent quietly about his game, and you guys play your guys' game, that's great, but it likely will keep you in primer. Now, if you have aspirations to go to the SML, which I do assure you, it's a really well ran league and has a lot of great things behind it, including a meetup that's happening soon within some of the members itself. I would say that you have to anticipate that you have to be in the chat a lot more. I think AJ can attest to it, or A Train, I'm sorry, can attest to it. That when he first joined, he realized how quickly and how differently the chat and how fast it moves in the SML compared to Primer. You think you have a conversation that you can carry in Primer for one day, and that will go by in 5 minutes in the SML, and all guys are engaged at all times. Damn near, it feels like, at least at some part of the day. So I would say that it's not fun to go into the chat, see that only Bomber usually engaging and having to start every conversation. It shouldn't have to be one of the admins to start the conversations and to keep conversations going in the chat. And it doesn't mean that you have to force things. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. But there's some part of the day that you can maybe bring a different topic up at some point and engage and get some engagement in there as well. Obviously, gameplay speaks for itself. I would say that don't be a guy that's extremely repetitive. Doesn't mean you can't stay in your shotgun formations or your pistol formations, but don't run the same things 4 times, 5 times. Don't abuse or get to the point where you have to use all 5 uses of the cooldown thing. But other than that, I would say if anybody else has something to say, I kind of said a lot right there.
AJ, you got something to add?
Yeah, just to piggyback on what Q and Bean said. Activity is kind of a weird thing, but people are like, "Well, I say good morning every morning." Well, that's great and all, but what makes the SML a great league is because everybody is so active. Everybody kind of feels like they know each other to an extent. Um, I'd say most people are friends with each other in the SML. So, with that said, comes with friendship comes mutual respect, and that helps in all facets of the league, whether it be just general communication with your opponent, scheduling, like content. It's kind of hard to provide content that people enjoy reading if you don't even know who your other league mates are. So that's kind of the general idea of why we hammer chat activity down, is because it just helps the league kind of mesh and come together, and it makes it more enjoyable for everybody rather than just a bunch of strangers that DM another stranger every 3 days to play a game. and like you said, gameplay. It's all written in the rules. The rules are there for a reason. Um, I'll be the first to say that the first time I joined SML, I was like, man, these rules are crazy. But once you kind of get used to everything, it's just second nature. It's not a big deal. So definitely read the rules and try your best to abide by them. And if somebody gives you a some constructive criticism, don't get defensive about it. Just accept it and be like, okay, yeah, I could see that part of it, and try to improve that way. We've all been there, so that's really my 2 cents.
Yeah,
Just
I think just to
one
kind
more
of.
quick thing
Oh,
to
go
add
ahead.
for fun.
Yeah.
I just looked in SML and we've had 2,000 messages in the past 12 hours. So that just kind of give you guys a baseline of the difference between SML and Primer.
Yeah, it's not uncommon. I've go to see a movie, come out, and it's like 400 messages missed. It
Yeah.
absolutely moves faster.
Yep.
But I think that the reason for that, and kind of what I think we're trying to kind of cultivate here in Primer is because this is a year long league that we're playing. We played Madden 23 from release in August until we're about to finish up mid August again, and then there's no break. I mean, we'll take 2 weeks just for waiting on the new game to come out, and then we'll do the same thing. So it's got to be more of a community than just we load up and play our games, because nobody's going 12 months playing the same game and then flipping the switch to the next one and doing the same thing without having something a little more invested. And that's why I think that the activity is important. Once you get all the activity, I know a lot of guys will say stuff like, well, I don't know anybody in the league, and that's maybe why I'm not talking. You're not gonna learn anybody by not saying something. So even if it's just getting in there and saying good morning and maybe just talking to somebody for 5 minutes, it'll start there and then it'll snowball. I don't expect it to be SML overnight. But if everybody's making an effort, and you see guys in there, Doc's in there. I can tell you what Doc does, where he lives, guys like that are in there, and you just slowly build those relationships, and then I think we'll get this league to where we want it to be, where it's not a pain to go year to year. And I don't know if I'm speaking just for myself there, but I think that's kind of what we're all looking for here.
Yeah, I think you're speaking for everyone there.
All right.
Yeah.
So the next thing we want to talk about. So we've got what we're looking for. What keeps people in the league. What are some things we have coming up next cycle? I know we've talked about doing some more content. I'm thinking of bringing first and goal, bringing it to Primer, and we'll see if we can get some buy-in from some of the other guys, so it's not just the four of us talking all night. But I think from a content standpoint, we're going to have some more stuff. Does anybody have anything else they expect next cycle?
Yeah, just to piggyback off content. I mean, I know there's a lot of content's one of those hard things where you almost have to be creative to think of something. But if you want to do content and you don't know what to do, you can ask us for some kind of guidance. I mean, we've seen everything possible in the SML, so I mean, if you like, I was asking around in chat, like someone asked for a Madden 24 tournament before the game starts, and I'm a little busy right now, so I can't really host it. But if anyone wants to do something like that, reach out. I can help you in any way I can. I don't. You can, you can ask for help with content. It doesn't have to be you alone. You can collaborate with other people once you get to know other people. And a lot of the content stuff that I do in SML, it's easily transferable to Primer, so I can probably start bringing some of that in next cycle just to kind of get the ball rolling. But aside from that, it's really up to the community to get it going, especially
Yeah,
participation.
I agree. I'll be bringing a few things for next cycle too. Try to be as creative as I can. The way I like to approach content, and I've said this to a few people that have reached out and what they can do. If it's something you enjoy creating or enjoy doing that's fun for you, um, it's probably going to be fun for other people to read or interact with. If it's a slog and it's something you don't like to write, like if it's a write up and you just hate doing it and you just do it for content points, chances are you'll probably do it twice and you'll never do it again. Nobody's really going to probably be super interested in reading it because you're putting out something that you just absolutely dread doing. So that's the way I'd approach content if I were you guys in the community. Um, what would be fun to produce, what would be fun for other people to take part in.
Yeah, and I would say everything that they said, obviously. And if you have trouble thinking of something as well, you can always go to the SML YouTube page, and you can look at some of the videos that they do and the content they do. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but you can tweak a few things. It doesn't mean that somebody's gonna, say, "What? This is a knockoff." Blah 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 blah. If you like to write, I know some people actually enjoy writing, so if you do content and articles and people actually read it, it's important that the people that read it, that they give some engagement or feedback back, so that if you are doing something, you feel like at least you're doing it and people are noticing, or you're doing it and people are reading it, rather than you're writing something and you have no feedback on it and you don't even know if anybody viewed it, so you don't know if you should do it again, type of thing. So I just encourage as a community to support it and to take the plunge and do something, and you'll never know, you might like it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Good point.
the inverse side of it is if people are creating content, just engage with it, because that does make it encourages more content. And then there's a lot of guys in here probably aspire to be in SML, because you see what's going on with the YouTube pages, and I'd kind of challenge you guys, turn this into SML. There's no reason we can't do the same things.
Exactly.
In reality, I think it's like 5 guys a year that we end up replacing in SML over the course of the entire cycle. So, if you're waiting to be one of those 5, that could be a long wait. So why not try to make this into what you want to be involved with? And I think we can do that. I think we have definitely the guys here that can do it. And that's something that we're gonna work on this cycle. Another thing that we talked about in the admin chat, I'm gonna try and get some type of like a trophy or something for the winner of the Super Bowls every season. I think that's something that maybe we can do, and that'll get a little bit more involvement and something to play for. Not that we're trying to really want to stress that winning isn't everything. It's the rest of what goes along with it. But I think it'd be nice to have something like that for the winners of the seasons.
For sure.
All right, so I'm sure everybody listened to that long enough. They probably skipped to right around here, the 12.5-minute mark. And the part that everybody wanted to see, the Madden 24 draft details for the team draft. So the way we kind of broke this up was you have different tiers. We haven't been here the whole cycle. The majority of the league hasn't been here the whole cycle. So we felt the best way to do it was to kind of break guys into tiers between guys that have been here the longest and have really put in the effort, to guys that are really good and maybe don't have them as much time, and then some of the guys that maybe your activity and stuff is kind of lagging behind, especially the scheduling, but you're still here, so we've got you kind of at the bottom tier, and there's no reason you can't move up next cycle, but anybody added from this point on will be thrown at the bottom of the list, not mixed in a cycle or in a tier. They're just going to be whatever the number is, 31, 32. Anybody have anything they want to say before we unveil the tiers?
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate, these tiers are in no order at the moment. As we mentioned earlier in an announcement, that these tiers will be randomized at some point before the draft. So wherever you see yourself in the tier, that does not necessarily mean that is your draft pick. That just means somewhere in that draft range, that pick range, you will be drafting.
Yep. So that'll come after the Super Bowl. We'll actually randomize those, but for now, this is the tiers. And guys, I just shared my stream with you, or my screen, so you guys should be able to see as I unveil the tiers. First tier, we've got the admins, AJ, myself, and QP. We're gonna put in, no matter what anybody puts in, I guarantee we're gonna put in more work. We're gonna bust our ass to make Primer right up there with SML. So we've got us. We're gonna randomize first, and then the next big tier 2, we've got Bean. He didn't play this season, so he wants to drop himself down to tier 2. Filthy.
Yep.
Bloom King. Trick. T Steel. The Truth. Steven MC. John Wilson. L Sut. Every time I read it, I call him Slut.
LSU.
LSU. Yeah, that even makes even more sense. Doc, Noobs, and Stavo. So that's going to be our tier 2. We'll randomize those, like I said, after the Super Bowl, and then those guys will be put in random order. Tier 3, we've got Ollie Iron Eagle. This is our Saints user. He's rather new, but been extremely active. Same with Wavy coming in, Vikings owner. Both guys right off the bat. I mean, had they been here the whole cycle, easily in the top tier, but just because they haven't put in the same amount of time and effort as those guys in tier 2, we have them there in tier 3. Spooky and Arachno, those are guys that have been here a while, but have some issues scheduling, so not quite that upper tier guys. Shady, our Giants owner, Deval, our Falcons owner, and KRB Rot, however you say that, Titans owner. Those are our tier 3 guys. All right, and if you guys want to jump in and say anything at any point, feel free. Tier 4.
Doing a great job.
Yeah. Tier 4, we got Jay Johnson and Marino's gamer tag. These guys have been here at least since my last time here. But
since I've joined.
Anybody in tier 2 or tier 3 or the tier below them may not know who they are because they're not in chat too often. I've seen Marinos a little bit more often, but they do seem to play their games. They just aren't very active, which, they don't generally pop up on the inactive, but it's a quick morning, maybe 2 things, and then they play their game. So they're in tier 4. Tier 5, this is where we've got Latin Yanks, Gunner, a new guy. He's the Steelers owner. Desperado's the Jets owner. J-Dog's in here, and Demi the God. So those are our bottom 5 guys. Again, everybody's going to be randomed in their tier. And that's how we'll determine our draft order. Anybody coming in after this point, though, they're going to go straight to the bottom. So you'll at least be pick 30. I think 31 is the lowest right now, or 30. And then I believe that's the end of our tiers, which it is. But AJ, did you want to talk about the special award prize, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, for anybody that happens to be still with us in this portion of the video, one lucky commenter on this video will receive something that will be very beneficial. I'm not going to reveal what that is, but if you happen to catch this and you comment, one of the random commenters will receive an award.
All right, so I don't know who's still watching. We're at 17, almost 18 minutes, so not bad, right at about our time hack. But I'll post this list in the league updates, breaking down kind of what our plan is for the draft, and you guys feel free to comment on this, and maybe you'll win the giveaway of the special award related to your draft order. All right, anything you guys want to say before we stop this?
Guess I'm just looking forward to next cycle. Looking forward to getting to know some of you guys a little bit better. I know I'm relatively new here. I was in Primer for a good bit, but a lot of these names are pretty fresh to me. So here's to a good cycle.
All right.
Well, actually,
ahead.
I'll say one more thing. I thought AJ was going to say something. I just say don't be discouraged if you saw these tiers and you see your name here. If you feel like you've been here for longer than maybe some other names that are maybe above you, don't be discouraged. If anything, put a little bit more into it if you really want that to be higher. Maybe Arachno, Jay Johnson, the Chargers. Not to call you guys out or make you guys feel offended. You guys have been here since I've been here, and it'd be nice to see you guys kind of lead by example. And I'm excited. Let's try to challenge ourselves to make it better than the SML.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got a solid group. I think we can definitely get there. AJ, parting words?
I echo everything y'all just said. If you are in a tier that you feel like is undeserved, feel free to reach out to an admin, and we'll maybe give you some honesty on how we can improve that position moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. As quite a few of you know, my DMs are clearly open, so feel free to reach out to us. We'll let you know how we came to this decision. But that puts us right about 20 minutes. So thanks for watching, guys. And let's finish out this cycle strong and kind of hit the ground running when we hit into Madden 24.